I pray for vision, I pray for wisdom, I pray for weapons against the system. I pray for freedom to free the victims, to heal the brain, no pain inflict them. I pray for real, I pray for real. I talk to God, then wait for real. Can't fake the fun, can't fake the feel. I pray for fun, I pray for real. I pray for y'all. I pray for y'all.
Hello everyone. Welcome to CYA Confessions of a Young Adult. I'm your main host, Cedric Carter, Minister Cedric Carter. And I got my man and co-host,
Elijah Peterson.
We are coming to y'all on our final show of 2020. I know y'all missed us a little bit. We missed y'all. But we're going to try to make this show as action-packed with as much facts but opinions as we can create during this show we're going to bring for y'all. Before we get started, I want to read our scripture for the show, which is Matthew 7:12, the golden rule, the law of the prophets. Therefore, in all things whatsoever, do unto others as you will have them do unto you, for this is the law of the prophets. How you feeling, man? It's
I'm feeling blessed.
You have a good Christmas with your family?
I did, a very good Christmas.
That's good, man. I did as well. I didn't have my son this year for Christmas because he's with his mom this year, but he'll be coming back on New Year's Day. So that's when he'll be able to open his gifts for me and for my family and stuff like that. But how did your boys enjoy the Christmas?
Yes, they did. I had to wait until 12 for one of them to show up, you know. Well, actually past 12. 12 was the scheduled time. Didn't show up until 2 or 3, but we ain't going to talk about that. Other than that, we had a very good Christmas. I actually went to Amber's parents' house on Christmas Eve.
Nice.
And with my oldest son, and they opened up presents at 12:01 or whatever. They did their little tradition. And got back home about 2 in the morning. Was tired, didn't wake up till 10, opened presents. And yeah.
Nice. And this Amber you speak of, this is your new fiance, correct?
Indeed it is. Yeah. We are going on 2 months.
Your future in-laws' house. Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. Well, we're going to get started with our first topic today, which is, you said the word because I always mess it up.
I mess it up too. Preferential treatment.
So we're going to talk about people on all levels, if it's business, at home, or within the sports realm. We're going to use an example of with James Harden. So the question really is, have you experienced, I'm going to call it PT, preferential treatment. There you go. It came out easy. And do you think it is fair to use in different environments? So the example we're using is James Harden, who is a national basketball professional player, NBA player. So basically, he's the superstar of the team. He has an MVP, which is most valuable player. He's recognized as one of the best players in the NBA. And with the organization he's with, which is the Houston Rockets, he gets a lot of preferential treatment when it comes to the when practices are made, holding the flights, coming late. Basically, he's not held accountable for anything really that he does. And here recently that has switched because they have a new regimen under the wing with a new basketball coach and a new general manager that's running the organization. So how do you feel about preferential treatment? You played sports before?
Yeah, I currently play basketball, and I used to experience the PT all the time in sports, especially. You always
and you experienced it in what way? You were the one getting the preferential treatment?
I've been on both sides of the spectrum.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
I'm a star or whatever. You know, I'm talking about LeBron James Part 2. But no, I've been on both sides where I've been the best player on the team. I've also just been a role player on the team. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
As far as my PT, I didn't use it as to say, I can do what I want. I think my PT was more of being an example, a good example of this is how I got to this point.
Yeah.
Not I'm to this point, I can just slack off now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess it depends on how you use it. In my opinion, right now, James Harden is misusing it. He's getting into confrontations with teammates, throwing the ball at them. He's just doing too much.
So how do you feel about, because the reports were that he was going out to the strip clubs or partying with Lil Baby, who's a rapper.
I just recently heard about that.
Yeah,
about how he
but
went to
he comes back and in his first 2 games he dropped 44 and I believe it was 12. 44 points and 12 rebounds. Then the second game, he dropped another 40 piece with a couple nuggets on the side. So do you feel, because he feels at this point like I'm still doing my job, was asked of me, which is to come out here and perform and give our team the best chance to win. So do you think, which I agree with you, because I do believe he has taken it too far.
Yeah, but part of the fault got to go to Houston Rockets
for giving it
organization.
To him.
Exactly.
For sure.
Because they gave him, they wrote an article about how the GM gave James Harden full power to trade his players with no confrontation with the GM whatsoever. So right there, you basically then already gave this man your whole team. So I don't know, man. That's a tough situation right there.
Yeah, and I've been on both sides of the spectrum as well, playing football, playing soccer, and playing basketball. I've been on both sides, and I was fortunate to see it on a bigger scale. Well, not a bigger, but a closer scale because I went to Duncanville High School.
Oh, wow.
So when I was a freshman, we still had Sean Williams. Who else? Yeah, it was Sean Williams, Roger Franklin, Perry Jones. These are all top 100 players across the nation in high school. So they're going to all the big camps, the Michael Jordan camp, the LeBron James camp. They're going to all these huge camps. So I've seen it to where, like, these dudes get the treatment that, you know what I'm saying, that the regular dudes don't get.
Yeah.
But they deserve it because they put in the hard work. But I was fortunate enough to see it from the level where they didn't take advantage of it because they spent so much time after practice or before practice getting in shots, running around the gym, getting their cardio up, spending time in the weight room and stuff like that. So I didn't see it from a perspective of it being just abused from a negative standpoint. But I can only imagine from what James Harden is doing. At the same time, it's a business and you got to be professional. But at the same time, I'm sure it weighs on his teammates because and he's the one that's now asking for a trade to get out of that situation. So it's like you see a gentleman who had it all basically, and he's basically fed up with the organization or whatever because they didn't come to him, and now he wants out of Houston and wants to go to a better situation. And now they're like, well, we gave you everything. What? But they're at fault as well.
Yeah.
Because they should have been at the same time. I mean, they the one that got to pay him. So at the end of the day, they really could be like, all right, you can get this, that, and the third, but you're not getting it all. But once you give someone everything and they use it, you know what I mean? And I think as an example, everyone knows LeBron James, but everyone knows LeBron James has that same power. But we've never heard of it being abused as in the way James Harden has abused it.
Yeah.
And I think especially when it comes to work-related things, we both have jobs and stuff like that. I think it's a thin line because you have to know who you're dealing with as well, because everybody's talent is different. Everyone's work ethic is different. Some people are just better than someone else at whatever it is that's been asked of the whole group or whatever's on that person's plate. And some people
All right. But the question is, because that person is more talented, does that give them the right to do whatever they want to do?
It doesn't give them the right to do whatever they want to do, no, because regardless if it's preferential treatment or whatever, nobody has that right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from their standpoint, they can feel like they have that quote unquote right,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as what's the right thing to do, then I think that's where I think the thin line comes, because
I got you.
for instance, say you're in a relationship, right? I'm not gonna use you and Amber, but just in general, say you're in a relationship and your girl allows you to go out and party and this and that, and then all of a sudden she's like, and you're not necessarily doing nothing wrong because you're still taking care of your responsibilities. You know, you're hopefully being faithful. I was saying you in general, but just the situation, you're being faithful. You're being the man you're supposed to be for her, and you're taking care of her regardless of on what level it is. But then all of a sudden, she's like, "No, some things got to change." But you're used to like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what do you mean? I'm still doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very thin line between it all when it comes to the preferential treatment. It's a dangerous line to walk on, because it can get that's a very slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
But even, I mean, you have it in, not even just in sports, you have it, I mean, you have 2 boys, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so there's always this dilemma when you have multiple children, and I only have one, but who's the favorite child? You always hear that. And like, I'm the youngest out of 4, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So we all knew my daddy loved the second child, which is April. He loved us all, but we knew April was his baby, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to treat us different as far as the love he showed us and this and that. But you know what I mean? We knew like, oh, okay, April get a little bit more leeway when it comes to certain things, which was...
So yeah, that was my brother for me, my brother.
Yeah.
It's only 2 of us, but my brother got everything, the loans, the cars, everything.
do you think there's
He ruined it for me in a nutshell, I think.
Yeah, one can't ruin it for it all, though.
I think he ruined it for me, man.
Do you think there's preferential treatment in church? And not necessarily just at Raleigh Friendship, but...
Yes, I think they touch on it a little bit at church when they be like, people think they got that special seat or whatever. They think because they've been members for, 3-4 plus years that they got more status quo over somebody who just walked in the doors for the first time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the church, yeah, I think it's big. Probably one of the biggest places that it happens is at the church, because you always have those regulars who look at the new people sideways, or it's just judgmental, basically. That's all it is. And it's not only in the church, it's everywhere. But I think when it's in the church, it's boosted in a way because it's not expected of church people, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. I agree with that all the way. Michael Johnson said, and this is from the comment section. And hello to everyone that's in the comment section. Michael Johnson said, treatment is always based on value. The more valuable you are, the more rope you are given. And then he backed it up and said, Harden has already told them that he didn't want to be there, so he's going to be a headache until they trade him. And although I agree, but then my question comes to, is it okay to be a headache just because you're somewhere you don't want to be? Because at the same time, he has a contractual obligation until he is traded or whatever to show up to camp or to the team facilities, obey the NBA COVID protocols and jurisdictions on what you can and cannot do. and make sure you wear a mask and do this and that, or you'll be fined or
Yes.
whatever.
Which they are not doing, bro. It's hard it's gonna be hard for the NBA to control James Harden now, because now that you touched on that strip club incident, he went to a strip club or whatever, no mask on. I don't know if a lot of y'all saw the video.
I saw it.
But he ended up getting COVID or whatever, an inconclusive test, and ended up passing it along to 3 other of their main players. In a nutshell, they had to freaking reschedule the game, which I didn't agree with. They should have went ahead, played the game, and fined James Harden, but they rescheduled the game in order to not have to fine him. And that's when he dropped that 40.
But he came out and did his thing, though. That's the crazy part.
But if you're not gonna give the man consequences,
yeah,
he's just gonna keep doing whatever he wanted to do.
No, but I thought they said that he wasn't the reason. He wasn't the trace of what started the
well, who else could it
little
be?
outbreak. I don't think it was James Harden. I think they were trying because it would be easy to blame James Harden. But I think it came out that James Harden wasn't the one. Like it traced back to, because he passed every single test, and he only had to quarantine. I believe it was for 6 days.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Amber says, I'm not a fan of either. It went off the screen. I'm not a fan of either.
I'm not a fan either way of PT, because to someone it seems unfair even when the treatment is unsolicited.
I'm not a fan of either because it can seem unfair, but at the same time, like, and I will agree with that with what Johnson said. It's all about value, and business is business. It don't matter. Everybody not gonna make the same amount. Everybody not as good as the next person. If you the top dog, then you the top dog. You gonna get more leeway. You're gonna get, the certain treatments. Now, how you choose to respond and act accordingly to that treatment, then that's on said person or whatever. But it can be unfair if you're on a like if it's outside of business, like where money isn't involved and there isn't like a value placed or whatever, then I can definitely see that. Like for instance, if it was high school, like we both went through that. I didn't have a negative experience from it because.
I did.
So okay,
I
so
had those players who
so speak about
they showed up, but weren't really there. You know what I'm saying? They at practice, but they not really doing anything.
Yeah.
They don't have to really go 100%. They don't have to really do the physical drills. This is football. This is kind of why I hate football now.
Yeah.
This is football. I feel like football, it happens a lot, especially with quarterbacks.
Oh, for sure.
And quarterbacks ain't got to get hit. They ain't got to do nothing. I couldn't deal with it, man. I'm sorry. And they the most paid player in the sport. Really, the only player in the NFL that's making money is a quarterback.
Well, but yeah, which is true. I mean, quarterback, because they're literally the head of the team, because they're the ones that touch the football literally the most.
True, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They make the whole offense go.
Yeah, and even on defense, they don't touch the football as much as the quarterback. The one who really controls the game is really the quarterback. That's why teams that are really good have really good quarterbacks. The teams that aren't that good or even trash don't have good quarterbacks. So it's the value that's placed on the quarterbacks, you know what I mean? But a lot of quarterbacks don't abuse that power, because in football it's a lot different. There's a lot, which I agree, because that does happen for sure. But look at how the quarterbacks are valued due to how much they touch the ball, how much responsibility is in their hands. If they throw too many interceptions or they're not completing passes or whatever like that, then you know what I mean?
No, I get that, but the thing I disagree with as far as the quarterbacks go is they are protected in a way to where you can't even touch them. If you hit them too hard, it's a flag. When you got these other players at running back positions who can carry a team just as valuable as a quarterback can, getting beat up every play, getting concussions, getting all this stuff, and making a third of what the quarterback is making, who ain't getting touched at all.
I agree.
But no, I agree that the quarterback is like the biggest franchise piece, but he's still playing football. Hit that
He
man.
is. I agree. Della Johnson asked a great question. Does God give preferential treatment to those that follow him? Versus those that don't. Ooh, that is interesting. If you listen to my sermon from Sunday, I spoke about how God reigns on the just and the unjust. I don't know if preferential treatment would. That's interesting. Actually, I will say.
You say yeah.
I don't know about those who don't, but I know for sure those who do follow him. There are those who do get preferential treatment. Now that don't mean you get in a different tier in heaven and this and that. You still gotta act right and this and that. But I do believe those who do follow God do get preferential treatment. Like, what did Lazarus do to, like, be rose from the dead? Or what, you know what I mean? Like, or just many examples. I spoke about Bartimaeus on Sunday. What did he do to, like, deserve to get, you know, his blindness taken away from him? Or the lady who touched his garment to heal those who are around her, or you know what I mean, or many situations. It's just like I can go to the text, and I won't stretch it too long, but how Peter, why was Peter the one that get to be used as the example of, all right, if you step out of the boat and you get on the water, you can be a water walker just like Jesus. But then he gets out on the boat, and then now the disciples see, I'm not going to just let you walk on water. But I believe he earned that preferential treatment by having faith and learning that he needs to keep his focus on Jesus. So then when that comes, a great example is abided with, all right, you kept your focus on me and this and that. Now you get to walk on water. Now, that ain't going to happen in today's day and time. We get on a boat, so don't nobody who's on the water, none of that, don't think you finna get out and walk on water, none of that. But I just wanted to use that as an example because I do believe there are certain people. Now, you're going to have to go through some things to get it, though. It's many that you had Joseph with his brothers who put him in, you know what I mean, the pen, then he gets sold as a slave, and then, but in the end, he ends up being, having a very high place within the kingdom with Potiphar, and I mean, many examples go through it, but God ain't gonna just give it to anybody, but I do believe that God does give preferential treatment to those who follow him. Now, those who don't follow him, that's when it gets tricky. But Bible says God reigns.
That's too deep for me. I will have to research and do, look up some scriptures, do a whole bunch of stuff. I couldn't just answer that question right now.
Yeah. No, I understand, but like I said, the Bible does speak about how God reigns on the just and the unjust. Or or for an example, I can go here. Before Paul became, when Saul became Paul, what was he? He was a murderer. He was thugging.
True.
He was thugging it out. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So why did he choose Saul? And that is something y'all can go and study. But you know what I'm saying? Why was he chosen to get the preferential treatment to become Paul, and then Paul becomes such a pilgrim within the studies of the Bible and this and that. So I believe God picks and chooses who he wants, and there's many things you can do with that. Is preferential treatment to favor or grace and mercy? That's a great question. That's a great question, Dylan. To favor or grace and mercy?
To us, I would definitely say to favor, but
to Christians?
As to her
to
question,
the believer and to the
I would
non-believer,
say grace and mercy, yeah.
So,
yeah, like to us, we will favor. We wouldn't give preferential treatment
yeah.
as grace and mercy.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I would say yes to the believers, but I would put a sticker to the side and say just because you're a believer doesn't mean you automatically get it.
Mm-hmm.
Just how when he returns, he's gonna look at many of us that's been in the church and say, "Depart from me, I never knew of you." You know what I mean? So I believe there is well, I will say emphatically yes to the believers. There is grace and mercy and favor that is especially because the Bible says if you believe it in your heart that Jesus rose from the dead, when you say that, when you give your life to Christ, then that is you telling God, yes, I am ready for whatever it is that's coming my way. Now we're gonna make mistakes and because we're human in this and that, but I believe that with that there is that extra favor and grace and mercy that is brought upon us from God's grace and mercy. Now, does everyone have it? I believe emphatically yes, because God loves all. Now, he doesn't love what we do, but he does love his creation. You know what I mean? But I would say to those who believe and who have accepted Jesus as Lord and that he died and rose on the third day with all power in his hand, I do believe that favor and grace and mercy is a great preferential treatment that we have as being believers in Christ and this and that. So I would say that 100%. Michael says God even uses non-believers to show other believers that he still loves them. That is a great point, and I'll let you touch on that for a little bit before we go into our break.
I'm sorry, I was trying to read that. Let me read that again. God even uses non-believers to show other non-believers that he still loves them. Exactly. See, this is why I said I would need to do some research, because he does show favor, grace, and mercy to those who follow him. But then at the same time, he can snatch somebody up who on the edge of the plank and make them do a complete 360 with nothing. You know what I'm saying?
And when you say 360, you mean turn their life around?
Turn their complete life around.
For sure.
So that's why I would have to research Sister Johnson's question, which is a great question.
It is.
I guess the tricky part of this question is preferential treatment, like you said. Is that really the right word to use?
I would say yes, due to because preferential treatment it can go in within any range, regardless of what we're talking about: school, sports, church, God in many forms. I mean, not in many forms in that way, but you know what I mean. I feel like you can really stress that out, but I would say God definitely. It's easier to use someone who's relatable than to someone who has it all right.
That's true.
When it comes to the realm and how God works, would God rather save a believer or a non-believer or something of that nature? Oh, my bad.
Nah, that's pretty good though. Would he rather save a believer or a non-believer?
But that's still a great question.
Yeah, that's pretty deep.
Because that goes towards the preferential treatment. I would say before we go into break, because we got a little bit over a minute, I would say something that I'm going to let you finish.
He did what? He left the 99 and saved the 1. So, I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, see, it's a slippery slope. But I would say, now who he chooses, that's completely out of my hands, because I ain't you know what I'm saying? Like, why?
But did he really choose, or was he like, already good,
he knew beforehand,
so I'm going to go this way?
He chose, but he didn't choose. You see how he chose, but he didn't choose.
But if I'm a part of the 99, I'm like, hey, bro, I still need you. You know what I'm saying? Where you going?
I feel you. That's
only one man over there.
I agree. That was a great discussion. We're gonna get ready to go into our break. When we come back, we're gonna address what has COVID 2020 shown about us or others around us. What's your 2021 look like, and how can America and the world do better in 2021? Those are the questions that we're going to answer. If y'all have some of those, y'all can put them in the comments and feel free. And we will address it with y'all.
Trapped and I feel like it ain't no escaping. Down to the bottom, all these problems got me drinking. Might drown in this bottle, all this drama got me thinking. If I had one call, would you resurrect? Or would you take back all of your promises? Cause I don't know who to turn to or who to trust. I don't know who to turn to or who to trust. So tell me that you never let me down. Cause you're my final breath before I drown. You're my last resort when it's too late. Who takes my pain away? So tell me that you never let me down. Come save me, cause I've been in way over my head lately. Shame got me sinking, going off the deep end. Heartache took my breath away, now I'm barely breathing in. I'm hoping, cause this the only thing that keeps me sober. I feel like I'm losing it, like what am I doing here? I need you to bail me out, I need you to pull me in. If I had one call, would you resurrect? Or would you take back all of your promises? Cause I don't know who to turn to or who to trust. I don't know who to turn to or who to trust. So tell me that you never.
Welcome back to CYA. Welcome back to CYA. We're going to get right into our discussion. We thank y'all for being active in the comments with the great questions and being a part of the show. But now we're going to get into what has COVID 2020 shown about you or others around you. What has 2020 within itself and COVID shown you, or do you want me to go first with that?
No, I'll go first because I got
For
this in my
yourself
head
and
right
those who are around you. So I don't want you to forget your
now.
thought.
For
Go ahead.
myself.
And others around you.
For myself, I kind of set this on Church For Real. Y'all need to go check them out, Church For Real. You know, Sunday podcast early in the morning, 9 a.m. Check them out, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And then after that, check out Pastor Alton McKinley. Will be stepping on the stage, RBC, to do one of his, whatever he call it, one of his little sermons or whatever. That's y'all shout out for this episode, Pastor. So there you go.
Check it out. Central Time, 9 a.m. every Sunday.
So what it has shown me is that I still value money. I don't want to say money isn't anything, but it's not everything. It don't make the world go around.
It does.
And I say that. You think it does?
Hopefully. Well, from what our society
Okay, let me finish. Maybe you might see where I'm coming from. All right.
All right.
When I say that, I mean not everything you do should be to gain money. You know what I'm saying? Like chasing money shouldn't be the ultimate goal. Money is going to come regardless of what you do.
I agree.
And for me, before COVID hit, I was always chasing it. You know, I was always wondering, where can I get the next bag? You know, that's what the kids saying. You know what I'm saying? Chase the bag.
Chase the bag.
I don't even know what the bag is. I'm just saying what the kids say. But chasing the bag, quote unquote. You got to find that balance between God and money, and that was a struggle for me.
Mm-hmm.
If it didn't include money, I didn't want to do it.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. If a man don't
But
work,
I mean, it could be something that God wanted me to do, or God was telling me to do, to bless somebody else. But because it involved money, I didn't want to do it. Does that make sense? And I've noticed that the more free stuff that I've been doing lately this year is where those blessings come from. It's not in the things that come with the paycheck. The blessings are mostly in volunteer work, you know, and stuff like that. So that's what it's taught me. And before I get to others, I'm going to let you say what it taught you.
2020 has shown me, I'll do COVID and 2020 separately. 2020 has shown me that in the snap of a finger, the whole world could change. And not necessarily, I'm figuratively speaking when I say snap of a finger because it's a process that happened. But a lot of things did happen so quick where it felt like the snap of a finger. But
Oh, yeah.
2020 has shown me that, man, you really gotta love those who are close to you, and you really gotta let go of a lot of things because you never know what's next. 2020 brought a lot of uncertainty when it comes from jobs because the market
Yeah.
crashed.
Yeah.
A lot of people losing their jobs, homes. A lot of people don't have much money, if any at all. But at the same time, the rich get richer in the midst of so many people losing so much. So 2020 has really shown me that you really got to love those who are close to you and make sure you prioritize what's important, and making sure what's important for you is the same thing that's important for others. As far as COVID within 2020 is a beast, man, because the fact that it didn't come out of nowhere, and I don't want to speak wrong, but COVID has been a thing. It's just a different strand, and this strand is stronger, and that's what created this problem. Della, could you fact check me, please, on that? I believe I'm correct, but I don't want to go too deep into it. But COVID has been a thing. It's just a stronger strand,
Yeah.
and now it has it's expanded to a deeper level to where it has caused us to not being in regular form when it comes to going out. Now everything is limited to capacity. You got to wear masks everywhere. But COVID is serious, man. I have a couple of friends that have dealt with COVID and they've lost their taste. They had a super high temperature, all that stuff, man. And COVID, it's a beast. And I would tell people to stop thinking it's a joke out here or stop thinking it's a game, because it's people who have truly lost loved ones. When they were just fine, but because they got COVID and all these other, health-related issues that they really didn't know that they had. Thank you, Della, for that. That is correct. Okay, so COVID was already a thing. It's just a stronger strand. But that's what I would say about those two. And I know you wanted to piggyback on something, so I'll let you.
Oh, what it has shown others around us. I think, yeah. I think Pastor really hit on it well early in the year when he said 2020 was going to be about seeing something clearly. He said something. He didn't know what it was going to be. He wanted us to fill in the blank.
He said it in 2019, at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020.
Yes. So I think 2020 was all about the vision, like he said. What is the vision?
Mm-hmm.
I think we were so busy pointing the finger, looking at others, trying to blame others. I think 2020 was a gigantic mirror for us to turn around, slow down, and say, look at yourself, and what are you doing to contribute to this world?
That's
and
true.
I've heard a lot of people say about their 2021 New Year's resolution or whatever, that they want to make life count. And I think that's what 2020 was mostly spent on, was take a full year to reflect on what you have done so far, and was it good in God's eyes, or is it just something that you wanted to do to please yourself? And I think a lot of answer. I know for me, my answer is I haven't been living for the Lord. I'm gonna just straight up and say it.
Yeah.
I've been living to have a good life, and I think a lot of people have been doing that. So 2020. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Brother Robinson says, can you have a good life without including God? I think that the answer is yes. Good life and safe life, two different things. I was living unsafe. With God, you can still live good. It's just going to be safer. You're going to be protected. I was living good, unprotected. Now I'm living good, protected. That's the difference, in my opinion. So, yeah, you can still live good. You can still have fun. You can still do all those things. But it's also good to have that protection. Without that protection, that's when things go wrong. That's when near-death experiences come. That's where, stuff like that comes from.
Before I forget this thought, I would say 2020 has shown me just how divided and how broken we are as a group of people from a psychological standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint. Man, we in a lot of trouble, bro. Because when that curtain got pushed back and people were forced to have to stay at home, and people, you really see how selfish people are. And if there was ever a serious moment to where we all literally had to work together, like we would be wiped out within like a week because everybody, like there's no team unity within the United, like I can only speak for the United States, but for the American people, like just when people were going out buying all the tissue, buying all, like, yo, you don't need that much tissue. Like, there's people out here that really needed it and people couldn't get it, or even when people were asking, like, hey, can we borrow just a roll of tissue or just whatever, like the curtain got pushed back on how selfish we are as a group of people, and that even goes for church folk. Like it goes all over the realm of things of how selfish and dangerous we are from a mental standpoint as a body of people, and that even goes as a body of Christ. And I agree with Della said. She said 2020 has showed us just exactly how much we need Jesus, and that is so true because when, like I said, when that curtain got pushed back, you realize that Jesus really ain't at the forefront of a lot of people's, psychological, just thought from a day-to-day basis. And it's crazy how, like I spoke in the sermon, like when things get uncomfortable, that's when I really find out who you are. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah.
Because you can
sure.
easily mask yourself of what you are when things are going good, but when things get real, the real body of people was really shown from how selfish we are.
And that's the thing. This year, it's been bad for everybody.
For everybody, yeah. And we all went through that where like I got to protect my family at the end of the day. I got, you know what I mean? I got to do this and that, and it's crazy that, like, at the same, like I think I said it on one of our shows. As much as I dislike Trump, I thank God for allowing Trump to be in the office, because it really allowed people to be who they are, and now we can literally see you like front and center. You ain't got to be afraid to be a racist or be ignorant or speak with bigotry and all this negative stuff. And so I feel like it goes hand in hand. But before we go into our spill the beans, I wanted to, what are your plans for 2021?
2021. I'm kind of with Johnson on when he said he want to make sure his life matters in 2021. I want to take the time to slow down and really build my relationship with God, my personal relationship. And my relationship is not everybody else's relationship. So that's what I'm going to focus on in 2021. Also, I'm looking forward to checking a new box on my tax returns. Y'all don't need to know what box that is. Y'all will know in 2021.
I would say, because I'm gonna get to what Amelia said, because she said something that's very vital. For me in 2021, I think I want to focus. I want to focus on being able to say no to people and being able to stand firm on my beliefs, and not feel bad that this is what I want to do and this is what God has said I need to do and this and that, and not really care. And another thing I would say in 2021, I want to focus on just being a better Christian, because I'll say it to anybody, like I think I've said it while I was preaching. If he was to come back right now, and I say right, I ain't saying right. If he was to come back right now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Pastor. You might want to get from behind me, because
I'm going to say what I want to do different in 2021. You're gonna have to tune in on Thursday night at 11 o'clock.
Central Time.
Oh yeah, they having a little watch night. Pastor trying to have a little watch night or whatever.
But I want to, because we got a minute and 40 seconds before we go into our spill the beans. Amelia said, and I appreciate you saying this, Amelia. She said, I hope, hopefully I'm saying that name right. I realize I am not an easy person to be around sometimes due to my quick whip attitude. All I can say is that I'm going to work on it. Amelia, I appreciate you for being honest, because a lot of people will not be honest about that one specific thing, that sometimes we are not easy to deal with when it comes to certain situations. And the fact that you were willing to admit that about yourself, and not just that, but analyze that within yourself and take the proper steps to become a better person to deal with, an easier person to deal with due to your quick whip attitude. I pray that you find all the answers you need, and just know once you admit your faults, the test comes to see if you're really doing what you need to do to become a better person and an easier person to deal with. But in 2021, I would say, man, I wish COVID would end, at least from the standpoint to where we can get back to some sense of normalcy, to where, man, I miss worshiping with a lot of people in the church, man. And the fact that, you know, we on a limited basis, we're able to have people come in and worship, even at limited capacity. That's really helped lift my spirits to get me ready for my weekly adventures for whatever it is I'm going through. And I'm going to let you end it before we go into our Spill the Beans.
Oh, no, I'm ready for Spill the Beans.
All right.
2020 over with.
Oh, we got some beans.
We got a vaccine. COVID, we made it.
One question. Will you be comfortable maskless?
Oh, no, hold on. Pastor, did you want us to talk about the vaccine?
Well, in 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, 2 weeks we're going to talk about if you should get the vaccine or not.
Okay, so we're going to go into our Spill the Beans.
Or not.
First, will you be comfortable, and this is a question for y'all, and we're going to answer for ourselves. Will you be comfortable maskless in 2021? I'm going to say...
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
I want to say yes
January
and no.
1st, 2021. I will be maskless. No, I'm not. Don't.
I agree, Della. The vaccine is not a cure.
It's not a cure. I agree. So it's flu shot ain't a cure either. But anyway,
And we still take it.
I think if enough people will get the vaccine, we'll be all right. We don't need everybody to get it. We don't need 100%. We just need enough.
I'm gonna say for me,
But I won't be.
I'll be comfortable from like my own standpoint, because I'm sick of wearing it and having
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
But as far as the safety of others, I will not be comfortable, because people are not responsible to do the right thing.
So you're not comfortable with it. Are you going to be comfortable with it or are you not? You
No,
can't
I'm
pick
saying,
both sides.
I'm saying for myself, for myself, I'll be comfortable with it. But as far as like being around other people, I will not.
So when we go into the store, you go to Walmart, you wearing the mask?
Oh, for sure.
You ain't comfortable with it then.
I just said
Look,
I wasn't.
take the signs down.
I just said I wasn't comfortable with it.
I'm comfortable with it.
All right, now we're going to go into our Spill the Beans. You starting it off?
My Spill the Beans ain't going to be about me. It's going to be about this homeless man story that I read on Facebook.
Well, grab your bag and you spill the beans there, sir. We got 11 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we'll let the music fade out. That was nice.
Here we have Elijah coming with Spill the Beans. You don't know what to expect.
This is from Antoine Morrison, December 4th at 11:13 p.m. I seen the homeless guy at Popeyes, and I gave him some loose ones in my pocket, and he said thank you. So I asked him, how did you get to this point? Excuse me. He looked up, smiled, and said, showing love. Have you heard this before?
I have.
Okay. I asked, what do you mean? He said, I went through my whole life making sure everyone else was okay, no matter what was going right or wrong in my life, and I did for others. I never want to see others go without. I asked, do you regret it? He said, no. It just hurt me to my soul that the very people I gave the shirt off my back to won't give me a sleeve off that same shirt when I was in need. He said, it's better to build your own house and invite someone in for shelter than to hand them your bricks while you're building yours.
You better
Because if you
preach.
keep handing them bricks from the house that you're supposed to be building for you, you will turn around one day and that spot where you have planned to build your house will be an empty lot, then you are the one that's looking for bricks. That's my spill the beans. That's a homeless person right there, y'all.
So so what's your comments on that though?
I was talking to Amber, and I can't remember what we were exactly talking about, but I remember I said, I think the most depressing people are the ones who are the most helpful people.
That is true.
That's my beans. I don't know. How do you balance that though? Do you live for yourself,
So I can tell you this,
or do you help others? You know.
I can tell you this because I've told the church before that I deal with depression.
Mhm.
So in the natural form, I'm a giver all the way. I don't need much to be happy for myself.
Mhm.
And that was before my son even came into the picture. Now, well, of course, with him in the picture, I got to make sure my son good.
Yeah.
And if he good, then I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But as far as for me, my depression really doesn't stem from helping others or not helping others. Mine really came from the pain and anger that I had built up from losing my father unexpectedly.
Mhm.
But even through all that pain and this and that, I still had a heart to want to help people automatically, and that is something that I do without choice.
Mhm.
It's just something that happens that's just my human instinct is to, if I can help someone, help them. No matter if they did me bad or they did me wrong, even if they did right, regardless of what it was, my natural instinct is to give out as much love as I can because I don't want someone else to feel how I feel or even get to that place to where they can even get in the car to even find out how that feeling feels.
Yeah.
So that's my perspective from me personally, from one who deals with depression. Now it isn't that bad. Mine just came, like I said, mine came from a different scope of where mine was triggered from, but others who actually deal with it on a deeper level, that's one where I wouldn't be able to answer that. But for me, hopefully, my answer was able to help you understand how, like, people who are that way, it's an instinct that they have. It's just like breathing us.
Yeah.
Like when a situation happens, the first thing we know is give out love. Because we know giving out love is a cure for so much, and we know what love does for us because we're the ones dealing with not necessarily loving ourselves or whatever, but the love that other people give to us is what helps us get through our depression and this and that. So we backfired with, all right, you're going to give me love, then I'm going to give it to someone else, regardless of what I'm going through. Because no matter how far down the road I am within my emotional state or depression, my first thing is people that's giving me love, that's helping me get through these things and hard times and this and that. I know if that can help me feel better with an emotional system that I really don't have no control over, because that's how depression works, then maybe I can help someone else who is or is not dealing with depression.
Wow. That's deep, man. That's deep. But once you see that people are being ungrateful, does that make you want to stop helping?
I've learned that my dad used to always tell me, and I didn't understand it until I got older, the only person you can control is yourself.
That's very true.
And at the end of the day, you are judged by what you do, not by what others do or how they treat you. Your judgment comes from how you respond in certain situations, good, bad, or ugly. That at the end of the day, you can only worry about Elijah, or Amber can only worry about Amber. Robinson can only worry about Robinson. Pastor can only worry about Pastor. Cedric can only worry about Cedric. At the end of the day, if someone else chooses to be ungrateful when you want to help, that's on their file. That ain't on my file. My file is I tried to help you. Now, if you choose to deny that help, then basically that's cleansed for me. Now, if I did my elected duty to try to help you and you denied or you don't want to be thankful and this and that, then that's not on me. And that's something that people have to learn to stop feeling so bad for trying to help someone. If they denied, then that's on them.
Yeah.
But as long as you did your part, then God gonna be happy that you extended your arm. And I can go deep into that because that's just like him saying, if you believe in me with all your heart that I live and died on the cross and this and that, then you'll get into heaven. But I can go really deep into that, and that's a whole nother road. I can talk forever on stuff like that.
Yes,
but
sir.
that's a somewhat deep level as far as with depression or giving out love. You just can't worry. You'll drive yourself crazy, man. And I can actually make this my spill the beans because I was gonna somewhat talk about my depression since we're already here.
Yes, sir.
What was the thought I just had? Like, I was so angry and sad and frustrated at God because, Lord, you didn't tell me you was about to take my dad. You didn't tell me this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all that, like, God is the one who controls everything. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for whatever regret, for whatever sadness, whatever pain, whatever anger I have towards God. I'm responsible for that because all those emotions are coming from things I either regret or I'm sad about and this and that. You know, but that's something people have to study because all of our emotions come from what we've been through, not what we're getting ready to go through. Because I can't have an emotion to something I ain't been through before. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So your anger or whatever comes from stuff that your brain has, you know what I'm saying, has already processed, and it just comes out like in an instant. And I could talk about this stuff forever, and I don't want to talk too much on it. But to answer your question, if that is something you deal with, bro, I would tell you straight up. If you give out $1 and somebody say they don't want $1, all right, I'll take my $1 back and I'm
Before
okay with that.
2020, if I was trying to help you and you denied it, you cut off from help for life.
But that's your choice.
But no, I'm working on that. You know, is that the right choice though? That's what I struggle with. I feel like some people really need the help. They just struggle with accepting the help.
Well, I mean that's pride.
Exactly. They struggle with showing other people that they need help.
Yeah, and that's Michael Johnson. What's the scripture? Pride falleth before the man. Oh Lord, help me. My brain be going blank with these scriptures.
Nah, you're good.
Pride falleth. What's the scripture, Pastor? Pride falleth before the man. What's the scripture? What's the scripture, Pastor? I know. Somebody pull up. It's pride comes before the fall.
Okay.
And a lot of people deal with pride, but until you let go of pride, then that's what all it stems from. But even that emotion of pride comes from stuff that they went through long before that situation came,
yeah.
and that's what makes them be that way. That's a whole nother level. I need to talk with Joyce McKinley. I need to have a session with you. How much you call Joyce?
Oh, Lord. Brother Johnson also says God does not stop doing for us even when we're ungrateful, which is true. Because I've been ungrateful.
Proverbs 16:18. God does not stop doing for us. Is that the scripture? Even when we're ungrateful. Proverbs 16:18. Thank you, Michael, for that. And thank you, Pastor, for the pride goes before the fall. But yeah, man, on the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, you have to worry about yourself, and that's something that I've always wanted to help people, and I know God has given me the heart and the spirit to want to be giving and to help, because I know at the end of the day I'm gonna be okay with the most basic thing, you know what I mean? But not everybody operates like that. So my message, I'm gonna let you in the show. My message to everybody would be: worry about yourself, but give as much love as you can, because you don't know where love can lead someone at the end of the day.
All right, before we get out of here,
I pray for vision, I
want to
pray for
highlight
wisdom,
one of
I pray
tonight's
for
comments.
weapons against the
Brother
system.
Johnson,
I pray
our
for
blessings
freedom to free the victims,
are based
to
on
heal
what
the
he
brain,
knows
no
we can
pain
handle.
inflictum. I
It
pray
doesn't
for
seem
real,
equal
I
or
pray for
fair,
real.
but
I
it
talk to God,
but
pray
it
for
is
real.
based on
Pray
what he
for
knows
more,
about
can't
us,
fake the
not what
feel.
we
I
think
pray for
we know.
fun, I pray for
That is
real.
so true.
Hold on, Brother Johnson. I want to touch on that
We
he
ain't got
knows.
time.
Oh, you right. Amber, you already know.
Just say it real quick.
This little sentence right here, I have not a problem, a disagreement with.
Say it, hurry up.
He knows we can handle.
Uh-huh. Is it written wrong or
No,
what?
no. This is a thing in the Bible. And God don't put nothing on us that we can bear, or whatever. If that's true, why is suicide a thing? Cut the camera. Cut the camera. Nah, but no. What I mean by that is like, to me, suicide. You only commit suicide because you couldn't handle whatever happened to you.
That's not true.
Why you think so?
Yeah,
that's
we're
why.
We're gonna have to touch that up.
Yeah, I need help. I need help.
All right. Okay, we're gonna go on that a
Help me,
whole,
Brother
because
Johnson.
we can go deep into that. But Johnson, you called this brother right here so y'all can hash out y'all differences. But thank y'all for paying attention to Joyce. I see your comment. I'm gonna talk to you soon. Thank y'all for paying attention and watching our shows throughout 2020 on CYA, Confessions of a Young Adult. Don't forget Matthew 7:12. Therefore, do unto others as you will have them do unto you. Which in young people's turn, if you want me to respect you, please give respect to me. If not, we're gonna have an issue. Do you have anything left to say?
No, Dale Johnson said it's not necessarily true. I know Dale Johnson. This is why I say I need to study. I can't just,
That boy just be talking off the side of his mouth, brother. All right.
Help me.
Peace and love to y'all. Thank you for watching CYA. I'm your main host, Cedric Carter, Minister Cedric Carter, and my man
Elijah Peterson.
Peace and love to you all. Be safe and love your people close to you.
20